Hi everyone, and welcome back to another fort video. If you saw last week's video, you will know that I had to put my best friend, Clyde, down. I wanted to jump in and mention that Clyde was still alive during the filming of this video, and so without repeating myself, if you'd wanted to know what happened, just go ahead and check out last week's video.
I noticed my boards are veering. So, how did that happen? Well, when I first started the first row, that's how it started. I had put two boards up at the back, one on one rafter end and one on another rafter end. And I know that like my cuts along the rafters aren't all the same, as long as they look relatively okay. But the one on this side that I put it on was a board that was a rafter that was a little bit shorter than the rest of them. So that started things off wrong. So I'm about 3/4 of an inch off, which is okay. It's not ideal. I wish it didn't happen. This is all learning. This camera is heavy for my arm. Let's just go like this. This is all learning. Obviously, I know I'm just building a little cabin, a little shack in the woods. But the point is just to try to do a good job, to try to learn and not make mistakes. But when you work by yourself, it's easier to make mistakes because two brains, you can bounce ideas, and someone can step in and say, hey, we actually have to do this first, or we have to do that first. And oftentimes, as a creator, I'm like focused a lot on more like the camera and things like that. So sometimes I think there are a lot of other creators out there that can relate to that you get a little bit distracted. So it's not a big deal. It's just hopefully underneath it's not as noticeable. I think with the different grains of cedar, it'll end up being okay. And I'll just have to trim the board that ends up at the front and it'll be skewed. The thing is that when I go to put my roof panels on, that's when I'll have to really pay attention so that those line up relatively square. Because I actually think this thing is not bad. It's not horribly off square. I will carry on, except I forgot one other part. I was thinking about this last night. I was like, don't forget to put your rafter blocking in before you put the boards all the way up. And I got this board up and I was like, damn it. I need to put those blocks in for the rafters at the front. I have just enough room to do it. So that's what I gotta do now. And I've got to go back up to the house and get the chainsaw battery because I charged it overnight.
What a treat to come back up and see all my puppies. All my puppies. Hi, Norton. Hi, Luna. The little twinsies. The little twinsies. Oh, yeah. And my little black dog is doing so much better on his anti-itch medication, aren't you? Riley just has seasonal allergies. That's why all his fur is coming off. He's doing better on that pill. Before you couldn't even pet him and he would just be like writhing in itchiness. And my bear. Hi, baby. Hi, baby. Oh, your mom loves you, bear. Your mom loves you guys. Your mama loves you.
Thought I could start to put this stuff on. This is stuff I have left over. I put this actually on the floor of the cliff cabin because it sat open for some time and I wanted to waterproof it. So this is leftover that I've had in the basement. I don't know how much that's gonna get me, but I may as well put on a row or two or three while I'm down here, and then I'm gonna go take the dogs biking. Definitely not Clyde, but I'll take Clyde for a little walk later. I'll get just two exactly. Good morning. It's actually closer to afternoon now, but I was speaking with the roofers because our roof is getting redone in that area. And I wish I'd asked this last week, but I was like, do you guys have any spare peel and stick membrane? Because I only got 2 rows out of that old Resisto stuff that I have. And the guy's like, yeah, just take a box. There's like a few boxes laying around. And I was like, I don't know if we paid for it, but he's like, no, just take one. I kind of wish I'd asked because then I would have just put all of that stuff up. But I will just put the 2 rows up that I need. I also need to make a decision about whether or not this structure is going to have a wood stove in it or not. I find it hard to imagine not putting a wood stove in a tiny little cabin, micro cabin or fort nestled in the woods by a creek. It's hard to imagine. I mean, I grew up with wood fires. We didn't have a wood stove, but we had a fireplace, and it's just a nostalgic thing to me too. I've always had some kind of wood heat source. I used to have a house that had a wood stove in the basement, and I used to sleep down by the fire. There's something about it. The thing about the wood stoves is, number one, they're expensive to acquire. That aside, installation. is also not, I don't feel like it's my forte. I had help putting the cubic mini grizzly in the cliff cabin. Bruce helped me, and that was a painful experience. It was awful. I hated it. However, I think it could have been made easier if I would have planned the stove before I put the roof on. And so here I am. Do I put a wood stove in this thing or not? Hey there, what's your name? Roof Nando. Feels like a lot of work to put a wood stove in. I don't mind work. I just like the money, the time, the complication of it. Is that worth it to me to have a wood stove in there? I feel like I'm gonna buy myself a bit of time. I'm gonna start putting some slabs up and some window framing, and keep thinking about it. I do kind of want to come down here and spend some nights in here when it's not super hot. So even though it's not going to have insulated walls, the floor is going to be insulated and the roof is going to be a little bit insulated. I don't know. Tough decision. Now, I have some of this leftover material, so I'm going to just do a little bit of like flashing along here just because, but I don't want to overcomplicate this. I'm going to try to use cedar for the bottom row and try and orientate them well. Custom cuts by Michelle. Yesterday, I nicked my finger with the hammer. Today, I reached in the bin to find the joist tape stuff or whatever, the black stuff, and I nicked the chisel. And it's not a very big cut, but it keeps bleeding and I'm getting blood all over the wood. So I think I gotta go up and get a Band-Aid. Or do I put the biggest ones? Oh, see, why did I? There's a lot of variation, obviously, in these slabs. They kind of are more fat at one end and more skinny at another end. I'm just gonna have to make do. I think I should put a really big one on the bottom. The next thing I'm wondering is how I'm going to join these corners. If I had all of the same dimensional lumber, I did this little doghouse out at the lake last year. If any of you watched that video, it was using old deck boards from the dock that washed up on the shore. And because they were all the same, I offset them so it looked like this kind of old style log cabin look. So I altered them, but because these are all different dimensions, they're all different thickness, it won't work that way. So I either run all of them out to the edge here and then run these ones in and you see the butt end. I could only run them to here and then do something in the corner, or I could cut these at a 45-degree angle, cut them both at a 45-degree angle, and then they would kind of meet up that way. like this. And then I could caulk the little bit that shows. I don't know how that's going to look with all different kind of like slabs like this versus dimensional lumber. It'd be easier to just put them all like this. All the ones at the end come out like this, and then the ones to this on the side butt up to here. Gotta think about that. Any thoughts? It's just too bad you guys aren't actually there to tell me in this moment what looks good and what doesn't. All along I was thinking I would do the 45-degree cuts. Just don't know if they line up well enough to make it worth it. Then do I do the butts of the slab showing from the back or this way? Which side do I show the butt end of the slabs? All right, you guys, I gotta make a decision. Hope these decisions don't haunt me. So I'm going with butting them, and I think I'm gonna have the sides longer and the front and the back shorter, so hidden in, if that makes sense. Where's my chainsaw? I got some of these like JRK structural screws to put in. Inevitable problem I'm going to be running into is that. It's a little crumbly. Be able to carry this. Okay, you guys, I went up to feed the dogs, walk them. It was such a beautiful day today. Like pure blue sky. The fall colors are amazing. Clyde had a really good little walk, the best he's had in a while. I had to go to town. I brought the other window down, so I carry them down when I come for a walk. So I have all three now. Still have to bring the door down, but I'll do that with the Bobcat probably somehow. I just brought the burning barrel over from where I had it that way, up the creek where I had it last year, because I think this is where I'll spend most of the time in the winter. So I grabbed that, and all of this gave me a chance to think about the whole slab thing. My pile is a little bit lame. I knew that to begin with, but it was all I really had, and I'd like to just make a little bit more big stuff if I can. And I want to do that before I put any more up at the back so that I can balance the colors and the sizes and all of that. I need to mill more to make slabs. And what possibly could I mill? Well, just have to see tomorrow. So I will see you tomorrow at the sawmill. It's a bit of a funky looking log, so I don't think I'll be able to get a slab on one of the sides. There's kind of a big indent. So if I get 3, that would be great. I actually don't think I can mill this. I think it's too wide, especially right here. Now this is 10, not quite 10 feet. Anyway, it's longer than I need, so I think, unfortunately where I have it sitting, I can't really cut it with the chainsaw because it's right on the bunk here, but I'm gonna shave this down, I guess, a little bit in order for me to get past here. I think it's gotta go. My chain must be really dull, or that log must be really hard. I don't know. My chain does not feel dull. Okay, I've got my cant, and I need to trim it down a little bit more. That little indentation is presenting itself, and I need to kind of whittle it down a little bit more. The only thing is that the more you whittle it down to the heartwood, the less of the beetle kill staining I'm gonna get, and that's kind of the stuff that I want. But is what it is. But this is the part where I'm like, gotta try to decide how I want to execute this now. I'm gonna flip it around and just try and get as much of the staining as I can. I did 3/4 of an inch thick. Oh, neat. And I think now, at this point, I'm gonna flip it and get a couple from this side. Good morning. Or actually it's afternoon, but I'm just doing these last little ones.
This one here is not usable in a full length, so what I might do is cut it and just get a couple of shorter sections. I was just down quickly at the mill yesterday and I did the rest of that pine, some 2x4 stuff, and flooring. I've been stacking the stuff there on that cedar offcut and thinking I could just come in and scoop it up, but it's too wide for the forklift. And I'm like, okay, so do I get out and load everything by hand, or should I take my chainsaw and just kind of like notch out a couple little things so I can slide the forks in? I've had a change on the windows, I think. God, I won't get into it now, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'm just going to work on the side where I know what window is going there, which is the one with the lead detail. So I will frame that wall window and work on that side.
it's slim pickings for stuff to do my window. So I had this tiny little bit left. I cut it in half, so I have 2 of these, and I'm just gonna make do with that window. And I forgot to slope it a little bit, so I'll fix that. I think one of the great things about doing the walls like this, I'm not doing anything else on the inside. You could, but I'm not going to. So if a board is bad, like if one of these starts to go bad, you just take it out and put another one there. So at least that's my thought anyway. Should I have kept that? So much of this is how are you gonna trim out the windows? And I don't quite know that. Do I go super rustic and just put the window in and then bring the slabs, like flush the window here and then bring the slabs flush to here, and this one will cover that part of the window? You wouldn't have any drainage, flashing stuff. And then the windows really don't have trim. It's just the log slabs trimming it out. Or do I put the slabs to here and then the window in and then meet halfway with a piece of trim? What would I use for trim? And then if I do that, if I meet halfway, then I would have to actually make this one. My memory card ran out, I think, in part of that. Anyway, I went back up to the house to get another one, and I basically tried to, I really think I need to just install the window right now and trim it out. Band-Aids. Why is where the adhesive, why is it where there's the Band-Aid part, the absorbent part, there's never enough stickiness here. So they never stick around the wound. Isn't that the most bizarre thing? Good morning. I want to whip out a bit more of this wall. I'll see how far I can get for the next couple of hours and then end this video, because I was looking through the clips last night and there's a lot of footage, so it's getting to be as long as the collar on this vest, which is awesome, by the way. I got this vest at a thrift store probably at least 15 years ago, between 15 and 20 years ago, and it was old back then, so love it. I have to customize that back beam. I have to chainsaw a flat sort of spot out. cannot find the chisel. I have been looking and looking, and I need it to cut that little piece out. I could do it with the chainsaw, but because I put too many slabs up, I can't really get in there with just the chainsaw. So I'm gonna have to go back up to the house. And if I'm gonna go up to the house at this point, I think I'm just gonna go to town and get the supplies that I need. I need more structural screws. These are the ones that I've been putting in the slabs into the posts. So I need more of these, and I need a few other supplies while I'm going. So I think I'll end this video now, and thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. You are just the cutest, cutest doggy, Clyde. Cutest bear. Oh, my little darling. Definitely glad I left earlier. I've way gone past where we were before, and he's still 600 yards. So he's much further than what he was last time. Hi. Hi, baby. Hi, baby. Hi. My goodness, Clyde, you're pretty far, honey. You're pretty far. We're pretty far, baby. Hi. What are you doing, Bear? Oh, Bear. Silly boy. He still wants to go. Hi, baby. You gotta go home. We're like 1.5 miles from home. Uphill, we gotta go. It's a good thing I love you, Clyde. Because one day, this is the way I look at it, one day Clyde is going to be gone and I'm going to miss these times. These are memories with these guys.